exciting. For those of you who are tuning in, welcome in. I'm Jackie Gonzalez. Philip Watson joins us with our big grand finale of our Spring Fever gardening event, our first gardening event of 2015. And for those of you who have never grown tomatoes before, or those of you who already have the experience, get ready.
Oh, my dear.
Because we got the mighty Mato, the grafted tomato plant duo.
Look at this.
Sold out in May. Oh my gosh, $36.96. The first quantities of the season now available. And these are the only tomatoes that Philip planted in his garden. I just want to eat that whole thing.
Absolutely it. Look, you don't see those hollow places that you see in the grocery store tomatoes. Nothing but flavor.
Gotta have this.
Awesome. I can't stand it when they're hollow places.
My gosh.
Unbelievable.
They gave me a cute little
I think we got some napkins here too.
They gave me a cute little plate with little hors d'oeuvre forks, so that's not going to happen. Because these are beefsteak size tomatoes. Look at this.
That's big beef.
Wow. Okay, what are we going to get? And how, we were talking first time tomato growers.
Wait a minute. I'm not through, honey.
Show me more.
This is the other one. You got your beef over there.
Oh, holy Mary.
This is my pineapple right here. This one is my favorite of the two. I love both of them, which I had both last year. Look at this.
I'm using the dainty fork.
Everybody, you know, usually the yellow
pineapple?
It tastes like a cross between the best tomato you've ever had and a pineapple. Miss Roxanne De Palma swears by it. She would rather have this than cake. Love this.
Okay, now that's a serious statement. By the way, we are still busy on the phones for our one-time only value and the last quantities we have of that to go around. If you want to get the tomatoes, we'll tell you more about it. Go into QVC.com or your applications. We're going to tell you about how to grow tomatoes. What do we need to know?
Well, all you need to know is that you need the right tomatoes. We've got the right tomatoes here. These are vining tomatoes. These are grown in cages because they will grow tall. There is the big beef. It is the perfect red tomato. If you've been searching for one your entire life, we finally have the right one for you. There is pineapple. I will never be without it. You know how you latch onto something good and it follows you from childhood until you're 150 years old? That is the one for me. I will never be without that pineapple tomato. Each plant will make 3 times more tomatoes than any other tomato plant that you've ever had.
What?
Because they're grafted. The root stock pushes the top part big time, and it's also disease resistant. So you will not have the typical problems that you do with tomato diseases like wilt and things like that.
We're gonna get 2 plants, and we're gonna get from 2 plants what would be the equivalent of having 6 plants.
And you're thinking, oh, I know it's gonna be a little plant. I just know it's gonna be a little plant. It's not a little plant.
Oh, it's not a little plant.
No, this is gonna grow like crazy. And listen, it's grafted. We've got a little stick here. It shows where the graft is. You know, a lot of tomato plants, you plant them deep. Do not plant these deep. Only plant them as deep as they...
What does grafted mean?
That means that it has been bonded to another root stock. You know, like say if you cut your finger off and then you have it sewn back on, except you sew it back onto somebody else.
Ow?
So,
okay.
Anyway, sort of like that.
That was a dramatic explanation.
Okay, you
Thank
asked.
you. Okay, I won't ask again.
Anyway, this got put onto Goliath's root stock, and this thing absolutely pushes the tomatoes out. No problems
at all. So it pairs the 2 together, and you get the 1-2 combination.
Look.
So what do we need to know? How much sun?
Look.
And you said it's got to be caged. Oh my gosh.
It's got to be caged because it'll have so many tomatoes on it, it'll want to fall all over the place.
There is nothing like homegrown tomatoes.
In a cage. This is what I had. I had 1 of each. That made as much tomatoes. The 2 plants will make as much as 6 regular plants.
We don't have a lot to go around. And we're busy. And if you want to get these, you better jump fast.
Because people went wild on these last year, and with good reason, because if you've got a small space, you want a lot of tomatoes, but you don't have room for 6 plants.
Right.
Get these 2, you will have the equivalent of 6 plants. Unbelievable production, but it's all about the flavor.
How often do we need to feed these, fertilize? What do we need to do? And I got to try pineapple
Every 3rd watering, I feed it with our fruit and vegetable fertilizer. 40 gallons worth of this is easy to mix up. You can just in a gallon of water.
Okay.
You know, a little milk jug. Water it in really well. Put these in as much sun as possible. And people say, in fact, I put this in my book. They say, well, I don't have a vegetable garden. Look how beautiful they are. Stick them in the flower border. Stick them on either side of your doorway. Plant them with your roses. It's your garden. There are no rules. The trick is you want to have something delicious, but these are also beautiful. Get the right plants.
These pineapple are delicious.
It's the best.
Oh
it's
my
just
goodness.
incredible, and you can't find them anywhere. You don't find the heirloom tomatoes for sale much in the grocery store because they don't store well. They've got thin skins. That's why they are all meat on the inside.
That's so good. And
Yes.
now, I mean, there is such a difference between
Look at
store-bought
this.
tomatoes and the homegrown tomatoes when you're getting them, and to be able to have them, making your own fresh salsa, being able to create on your own concoctions that you have. So many of you who have the Vitamixes and the KitchenAids that you're going to be able to create these gorgeous recipes, or just slice them up and eat them, just like I like to do. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't life good?
What did you make with your tomatoes
Isn't
this
life
season?
good? Listen, I'm from Mississippi. What do you think I made with it? Tomato sandwiches with lots of mayonnaise.
See?
And I have to tell you, I had gotten so fat by the end of the summer.
No, you did not.
Not from the tomatoes, but from the mayonnaise. And I didn't even need to get on the scales. I looked at myself, I thought, holy moly, what in the world? So the trick is you can make bruschetta. You can also dice these up. They're fantastic in salads if you want to live healthy too. So this is a good way to go. I also, in the morning, when I'm making an omelet, I'll have slices of really good tomato around it. You know, most of the tomatoes you get at stores and even in restaurants,
Last call for these.
it's just not that great. You got to have the good stuff. Be good to yourself, and you've got 2 tomato plants that will supply the neighborhood.
Tomatoes, lycopene. Lycopene, that was what was in the tomatoes.
Yeah.
For those of you who are getting
I'm liking it a lot.
Oh yeah. You're gonna get not only the big beef when you're talking
Yum.
about having those, but also the pineapple. You get 2 plants that are going to give you and produce the equivalent of having 6 individual tomato plants.
Look at this.
Look at the size of these.
This is crazy good.
Ask about the fertilizer too.
My favorite.
Now, stay on the phone lines if you're there at QVC.com. Otherwise, these have sold out. Make sure to get the Bud and Flower Booster for fruits and vegetables.